it's funny you say that because at the end of the day, I think you were one of the most like technically proficient guitarists of your time because
I would give that to Edward Van Halen, actually, or Alan Holdsworth, or somebody worthy. I was a studio musician. I'm very proud of that, and I was able to do a lot of different things and work with so many legendary artists in different styles, and have a rock band, or what I always call a rock band, even though they shove so many ballads out there, people think we're like some pussy little band. They should probably come check us out live. But, ironically, the guitar player writes the sappy tunes. There it is.
Right.
I'm still a romantic at heart, but I still love the way an A chord sounds through a stack of Marshalls,
No, totally. Back in the day, who came up with the wet, dry, wet setup? Was it you or Ed?
Well, that's funny. Well, we had the same guy, Bob Bradshaw.
Right.
I'm going to give it to Bob. To say, you know what? Why that works is when you're playing in an arena, the wet shit, you lose it in a big arena because it's reverby and stuff. If you have one dry cabinet but has no effects, you can still have your stereo effects for you as the guitar player and artist to hear their stuff right on stage, but they can still use a little bit of that, maybe use less of it, and lean on the clean stuff so you can get the clarity. Now I just use 2 amps and I hardly use anything. But back in the days of the racks, when we started realizing it was getting washy sounding, especially in a live, bigger, reverby room, that we needed a thing. So Ed and I were both working with Bob at the time. So I'm gonna have to give this one to maybe Ed, being the genius boy that he is, always thinking ahead, may have put the idea in Bob's head, and I benefited from it, just by being friends and being there at the same time.
No, it's interesting. So like when you're on stage and you're playing with the wet, dry, wet setup, are the wet cabinets as loud as the dry, or are they a little lower or louder?
On mine, no, it doesn't always work this way. Carlton does his different. Like he mics his amp and then puts it through a thing and then has reverb and whatever other effects coming out of that with the dry dumble, say, in the middle. Whereas I just use 2 cabinets now with have a little bit of effect in both, but I don't really use that much anymore. But when I was using more back in the day, I would have a little bit of the dry sound also mixed in with the wet. So it wasn't just like, echoes going crazy left and right and you're kind of lost. So it just kind of smoothed it out for me. Also for them out front, they had more control of the 3 channels to use what they needed. If we were playing at outdoors, say, where it's real dry, you could use more of it. But if you were indoors in an arena and it's just like, a 10-second reverb, then it would just mess things up and people bitch and moan like, hey, I couldn't hear you or whatever.
I can't hear your flanger.
It's always what you want to hear after a show. Great show. I couldn't hear you though. It's like, what do you mean? I listen to the playbacks and fucking in the arena. It's like during sound. What is it really? Okay, give me a ballpark, and it's not buried.
Yeah.
You can't please anybody. So I heard too much bass. Well, you were sitting in front of the bass bin. It's like
you're sitting in the corner of the freaking amphitheater where all the bass gets sucked
you're
up.
Nosebleed seats, and you don't want to know why it doesn't sound like the record.
Yeah, your nose is bleeding. You can't hear my flanger. Sorry.
And I don't mean. And listen, I'm happy for anybody that buys a ticket. We've gotten better. Technology's live sound has gotten a lot better and is continuing on that path. So as soon as we're allowed to get out of the house and use it, we're geared up and ready to go.